Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FMLFPL 1!
It's Walsh.
I like seeing you like adjust your seat as I'm okay. And it's like we're fucking in the cockpit together, about to go nuts.
Yeah, you like my new camera setup?
Dude, your camera's looking good. My camera's looking really good. Dude, the fucking blur behind me. I'm so sharp. Oh, we got the high-priced assets preseason episode we do every year. It's a big one. It's the start of the FPL season for me. Probably not for you. You've been starting since, a month ago. But for me, it's the start of the FPL season where we go through.
You already... I have my spreadsheet for how many times is Alon going to tell me before a pod he's not ready, and we already hit it.
We're one for one.
We're 1 for 1. Over under at that set, I think.
Last pod I didn't say.
No, you didn't say. I think the over under set for that is like 5.5.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say 15 and a half.
No, what do you
or
mean?
like over the
38
season?
weeks. Yeah.
Oh, you're just saying just preseason pod?
No. Over the season. How many times do you DM me and say, I'm not ready to pod, or like, I don't know what's happening?
Dude, I'm setting that at like 15 and a half.
Jesus Christ. Is it really that bad? All right. Well, my spreadsheet, that's my spreadsheet capabilities. I can have 2 cells.
Yeah.
Just one.
Diddle on. Yes, no. 3 cells.
No.
Fucking wild.
Well, I'll keep everyone up to date.
Yeah, keep everyone up to date.
As we go. But for newer listeners, just to break down what we do here, we do high priced assets across the positions, then mid price, then budget. We sort of arbitrarily set a marker based on the player pool each year for that. So it's not a science, it's an art, and it's not perfect. It's probably just bad, but it's the best we've come up with. So today, high price assets. So we'll do that. And
later this week, I'm firesiding with Baker from Above Average FPL Pod. Next week, we do mid-priced assets. Walsh is firesiding next week with Late Riser from FPL Wire. Then we're doing budget assets. And then a bunch of not confirmed firesides also before the Game Week 1 pod. And then we're there.
Yeah. The weeks will go fast.
Yeah. For the preseason, we're going to do the, annoying I'm a podcaster guy thing of advertising ourselves at the beginning of the episodes, but we just got to do it. But get in the Discord, patreon.com/FMLFPL. It's the place to be. Most people sign up for the Friday My Life episodes, which is an extra pod a week, pretty much every Thursday night, once the season starts. And then last year we started doing the RMT Rate My Team live streams for another level, and that was a really fun hang. And I think by the end we really got the hang of it and like how to record it and how to post it and using Discord instead of insert expletive other company that didn't really work so well. And then
I mean, we don't have to do this. We do it because we're fucking shills and we want money.
Yes, we want money.
We choose to. And then we realize after a certain point, no one new is listening, so we just fucking discard it. And it's pretty soon. It's about a month away.
It's pretty soon. Yeah, it's pretty soon. And, we wouldn't do this pod if we didn't make money off it, honestly. We've been doing it for way too long. So, we have lives to attend to. But, and the t-shirt stock is low, but, it's still available, running out. But, I'll put a link in the show notes for FMLFPL t-shirts. They're good. And can we stop now?
Yeah, let's go. So let's start with goalkeeper, the most important position.
Most important position, keeper.
Obviously.
5/5s.
Yeah. So we've got 3 to choose from. No surprise, the 3 best teams and defenses in the league perennially for the last few. Raya, Alisson, Becker, and Ederson. They did a good job with the Ederson job with Ortega because there's more smoke and fire around Ederson going to Saudi, and so they put Ortega in at 5.52 just in case. What do you see here?
Oh, always a mistake to not do it. Ramsdale should be 5.5. Kelleher should be 5.5. Literally no reason not to.
I don't know about always, because Cuivening was 3.8 last year, and in his 8 starts, I think he got like 14 points.
Yeah.
So there's a little debating. The debating is interesting.
I'm not basing it off that, though. I'm just basing it off of, like, you shouldn't be able to get a Liverpool keeper for 4-5. You shouldn't be able to get an Arsenal keeper for 4-5. Raya goes down. Everyone brings in Ramsdale, like, best fucking pick in the game, Ramsdale.
Shouldn't you?
Shouldn't you?
Pope goes down. Funny. Everyone gets Dubravka, and he's 4-0. Oh my God!
That's picking
so
the
many
game.
Points.
So many points.
And he gets 1 point every week.
I live for the excitement of getting the player. I don't live for the points. This is the season of FPL for me, not FPL for you.
Oh my God!
But it is funny you mentioned the 3 teams, because I mean, of the premium pod, I think
we'll be talking about these 3 teams a lot.
85% of the players are City, Arsenal, Liverpool. I'm just scanning my list right now. The only those team premiums are Trips, Shar, Porro, Palmer, Son, and Bruno. That's literally it. It's very few.
It's not cool to spoil on minute 5 of the pod.
I'm getting people excited.
No.
Well, what do we even say about these keepers? And Harley Boy said, Raya's the cheapest of the Arsenal defenders. We know are nailed. Why not just grab him and never have to think of keeper again?
Well, I mean, it's very difficult to kind of put your finger on this type of discussion, because we do always advertise, get the cheapest route into the clean. But when the cheapest route into the clean is the goalkeeper, who literally doesn't make a save ever and gets no bonus points ever, it, like, the landscape of goalkeeping points would have to shift dramatically for Raya to be a good pick to me, in terms of like the bonus point getting and then the say. I can't see the world where he's the pick, especially at the beginning of the season when they have, a few tough fixtures. We're all going to wild card by game week 6 or whatever, at City, Darb, at Spurs, at Villa. It's 2 or 6, right? It's 2 or 6, never 7, never ever 7. And even more rare, anything higher than 7. So, like, do you
How many
want
bonus points did he get last year? 6
0.
total. 6 total.
0
they
to
kept
me.
a fucking million clean. He cleaned literally half his starts. He
16
started 32
cleans,
games, cleaned 16 of them, and he got 6 bones.
135. I mean, I guess the argument for Raya is, and this has to be the set and forget, is that he, in air quotes, should still hit like 150 with 38 starts.
For sure.
Even not for sure. Definitely not for sure. Because they kept 16 cleans last year, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, out of his 32 starts. Yeah,
they could keep 13 and he won't hit 150 at all. Yeah, if they do that.
They're strengthening the defense, right? The Calafiore deal looks like it's probably over the line. And my other pitch for Raya, which is going to be a recurring theme, is we never ever push for the 5-5 keeper, except for that one World Cup year, but. My other pitch for him is the 5 frees. I think this is an interesting talking point where it actually makes a difference. Like getting a guy that without a shadow of a doubt, pretty much barring injury, you will never transfer this player. Might roll over, right? Like having guys that you won't transfer out versus having, the classic, like, I have 2 5-5 mids that I like, and they're probably both going to be fucking dumpster fires, and you're going to have to use transfers. Instead, having someone who's more steady is now a little bit more valuable because you can roll for longer, right? Yeah. So like that's a little bit of like an interesting point, I think. But who's using a keeper transfer anyway? The first 8 game weeks of the season, like basically no one ever. So
yeah. I mean, I guess another wrinkle to that too is historically when we have 2 frees and we have to, do the double move, if you're able to have 3 or 4 frees, using one of them on goalkeeper to downgrade, as well as, using it in concert with a couple other to not take some -12.
Yeah.
Maybe you're having a little bit of an easier time doing it that way. Once you get the landscape of, okay, it's game week 5, Villa look nails, I want ME, that's 0.5. Okay, like then I could do this, then I could do that, and then you're not really downgrading. You're sort of making lateral moves.
Right, goalkeeping position, to picking one of 8 4-5s, and maybe only 2 of them are going to be good anyway, right? And you can maybe get a leg up there or something. But Otherwise, I mean, it's hard. It's a hard sell. And then Allison, Ederson, Ortega, I mean, not really a go.
Well, I mean, I think Allison is a little bit interesting to me because they do have the fixtures in the immediacy. I mean, if I was picking a 5-5...
Do you like them for cleans, though? The fixtures?
I don't know. I mean, I like the team. I like the fixtures. I mean, I think that the fixtures matter a lot more than, not being too sure about what the structure is going to look like and shit like that, because it's a huge difference than Arsenal and City. I mean, Arsenal have 3 of the first 6 that I would be, I mean, you're not going to say surprised with Arsenal, but I don't expect them to clean. Yeah. And then the other 3 are like good home bankers-ish for cleans. So, I mean, if you're looking at really like 2 or 3 cleans to me from Arsenal in the first 6 is what I would expect.
Yeah, between 2 to 4, I guess.
Yeah, is 4 at the high end. But I mean, Liverpool don't play a good team, till game week 7. I mean, they have Ipswich, Brenham, Man United, NFO, Bournemouth, Wolves. Like, they could keep 4,
Yeah. I mean, the difference with
early
Liverpool
on,
is
I want to play the fixture more than the...
Yeah, I totally agree. I just don't love the fixtures for cleans. We talked about it last pod, right? Like, away into promoted side, game week 1, like, gonna be a fucking insane environment. Ipswich haven't been up in, our lifetime, basically. They're gonna be going absolutely apeshit. Brentford, I feel like, are always a tough clean. Even though they're, like, kind of always a bad attack, they're always a tough clean. And then away Man United, right? That's Man United's first or second biggest game of their season. So that's also like just a tough clean on paper. And this wasn't a good defense last year, right? So like there's another wrinkle there with a new manager that's like, it's a tough sell for me. But yeah, the upside is certainly there with Allison and with Liverpool and with their fixtures for sure. But I mean, probably neither of us will be going with the 5-5 keeper if I had to guess.
I mean, I haven't even really played around with it. I just don't see it at all for me in game week 1 where I'm trying to, skimp on it. But coming to Ederson, I mean, it's also like they have Ipswich, Western, Brentham, also have Arsenal, Chelsea at Newcastle, first 6. Like, overall, that they're going to eat. They're going to get their cleans. City always do. But, with the Chelsea fixture, the Arsenal fixture...
even the away Newcastle fixture, that's a tough clean.
Yeah, that's a really tough clean. They're going to be. It's going to be tough at St. James.
Ipswich, away West Ham. I think that might be like a good clean sheet team target, West Ham, because of how they're going to play. But like, you're not looking at an upside of like a 4+ clean City or Arsenal, really. First 6 games. So yeah, it's probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it anywhere here.
Yeah. And that trickles down to, defenders, right? So, like, just starting with Arsenal, right? They have White at 6'5", Gabriel Saliba at 6, Timber 5'5", and then Calafiori, obviously not in the game yet. The transfer's not done yet, but I assume he'll be 6, and he'll probably be the left back. And what are you buying,
Well, it's a little bit different, I think, with defense, as I've been kind of looking around at all the teams and playing around with it, because... there are very, very few teams that actually have good fixtures for cleans, like opening 6. Like it's like NFO. It's like the best.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, there are like none of the good teams have a really good so you're gonna be either rotating mid-table defenses for like also kind of medium fixtures. With each other, or you just buy. Okay, I'm gonna just pay for the best defense, even though the fixtures aren't the best. I just don't have to look at it, don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Villa are
there's
interesting.
There's attacking, and Gabriel and White and Calafiori. So,
Yeah. I mean, I think Gab is still the best pick. Like, if White was the same price, I would go with White, but the 0.5 I don't think is worth it for White. So if you're looking at an Arsenal defender, I think it should be Gab. The fourth defender, I think, is too questionable. If Timber and if Calafiori comes in, he's going to need a bet end. He's not, I don't think he's just come in and start every game, and we don't know what their outgoings are going to be. Also, they have all these left backs still on the book, so we have to see how that squad settles. But, you're still, like we're talking with Rye, right? I mean, they have a few tough fixtures, but also they could clean at Villa. That's not impossible,
Yeah.
Cleaning at Spurs, at City is maybe less likely, but
at the same time, City Arsenal last year was
they barely played a game.
Non-event. Neither team played. It was the easiest 0-0 of a life. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they roll into 6, 7, 8, which are all pretty good fixtures, home Leicester, home Southampton back to back. So, if you're putting a bit of extra stress on the home Wolves, home Brighton games in game week 1 and 3 from the defender, because you don't really expect them to clean any of those 3 aways, even though they obviously could. But I think you're just buying the assuredness, because I do think that there aren't just some dearth of options, even though there are so many good 4-5s. There aren't so many good 4-5s with just good fixtures or good rotating. I've been playing with some, looking around at trying, how can I kind of mix all this together and make it look good? And I haven't really cracked it yet.
Yeah, it's been a little difficult.
Yeah, I have some ideas that I'll save for future pods when we talk about some of the cheaper options. But I think that's what you're getting, right? You're just buying, you're putting 6 down, you're getting an Arsenal defender. You're like, okay, they're great, whatever. Hope they clean, shrug kind of thing.
Yeah,
these are Haaland teams too.
Yeah, right. But to be fair, if you just go super micro, first 3 fixtures before, international break, why the fuck there's international breaks is a whole different pod. But home Wolves, at Villa, home Brighton, best defense of the league, nailed as hell. Yep. And it's a little bit reminiscent of us not going Estupinian. It's not the same, right? Estupinian was 5, he's so attacking, blah, 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 blah. But 2 home bankers is probably good enough for early in the season, right? You're pretty likely to keep 2 cleans, and there's a chance of 3, and there's a chance of an attacking return. It's none of this is out of the question at all. Sure. So maybe I'm looking too much at but then the away is at Spurs, at City, whatever. Get the points on the board. Make the transfer in game week 4. Who cares? Yeah. Or if you're free hitting in 2, start them in 1, start them in 3. You don't even have a bad fixture, and then make a transfer in 4 or bench them in 4. No big deal. So I think that is also a real possibility.
Yeah, it depends on how short term. I'm really trying to stick to the first 6, because I do like to not use my wild card early when I can help it, because I know just when I do that, it backs me into a corner, and then that's when I feel like I start taking hits and just doing bad, wild,
hitting
crazy shit.
The game in your life. Yeah.
But if you're going without, because this is the main thing, is when I see these teams with Haaland, I just don't get how you're affording that, unless if you're doing 4-4-2 or something, which I don't love. Because you're telling me yes, there are 2 good home games, but it's also, you're really just chasing just 4 points, 4 points.
Yeah.
We're not chasing these hauls where it's holy shit.
You're
and
praying for a goal and
expensive.
A clean. You're praying for 2 cleans and a goal, or in White's case, 2 cleans and an assist, or something like that, right? That would be great. That would be worth it.
But it's Prage. It's that's not likely. You're really praying for 2 cleans in the first 3. Yeah. And if you hit that, you're like, okay, great. I got 14 points.
Yeah.
It's well, if I spend 4 or 5 and I hit 1 clean, I'm down a few points. I hopefully made up that 1-5, and you have this shitty ass fuck, and I have this other guy who did the thing.
You have Matto, and I have Odegaard or something.
Whatever it is, right? Sure.
Yeah, whatever it is. But that's Arsenal. Yeah. Calafiori could really change this. I don't really agree with you. I think assuming the deal gets done very soon, which it seems like it is, I think he's just the left back, and he's just going to start as many games as he can. It was not a weakness, but it was the weakest part of their 11 last season. And
they didn't have a center back playing left back.
Yeah, and he's just great seeming. Well, I've seen very little of him, but he seems great. He's super young. He's 40 plus million. I think they're buying him to be the fucking starter. But then, I don't know what happens then with Timber. So, maybe.
Yeah, that's
the thing. He was also 50 million or whatever.
Yeah. He wasn't some 5 million buy either. And it's just they have 60 games. And I agree with you that Calafiori is the left back, but is it going to be from his the first 7 games? He's going to play every one of them? I don't know. Maybe by game week 11, he's the left back. So,
Yeah.
But if he comes in at 5-5, then
that's
maybe
interesting.
then it's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you want to go over to Trent, or do you want to start talking about City next?
Yeah, sure. Let's do Liverpool because City just have 18 guys. For Liverpool, it's Trent, Robbo, and Virgil.
Good job by them with City.
Good job
just
by
put them all 5-5. Like, do you deal with it?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. Love it from them. Good pricing.
Trent 7.
Robbo 6, VVD 6.
Go. Your team.
Really been having Trent in like basically every tinker so far.
Hey.
I think that, the prices are fair, but there's enough cheap guys that I like. Even with Haaland, I think it's doable. And the fixtures
are you doing like Trent, Mo, Haaland, and then plus 12?
Yeah, that's what I did in like my most
out.
Recent Haaland one. Yeah. And, without Haaland, obviously, Trent's just 100% nailed.
Easy.
Yeah, but like there's a lot of 7-ish mids I like and 6-ish forwards I like, and that just fills up the team. Like really not that difficult. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned the fixtures earlier. I don't love the first 3 for cleans, but the next 3 after that are home NFO, home Bournemouth, and away Wolves, which I do love for cleans. And then I love all of their fixtures for attack.
That's the thing for him. Yeah,
you could just rack up so many attacking returns and bones in that time.
Yeah, like that's the thing with him to Gabriel, where it's like you look at the first 6 as like, if Gabriel has got 4 cleans, minimum 3, like you're in trouble. Yeah. Trent just needs to get 2. you know, he just needs 2 because he's gonna find some assists. He's gonna,
he's gonna get max bones in those too.
Yeah,
or like two or 3 bones.
We'll have to see how the bonus points kind of. But yeah, he's gonna always good for bones. So yeah, I mean.
That's
7 is so cheap for Trent. I mean, he hasn't been 7 in 7 years, basically. I think it's like 5, 6, 7 years ago that he was 7. He's been 7, 5, 8, whatever.
Yeah, he was 7. Yeah. He had 185 points, a goal, and 13 assists in the 18-19 season. And then he was 7 in the 19-20 season. Liverpool win the league. It's 210 points, 4 goals, 15 assists. And he hasn't been as cheap as 7 since then. Last year was the first time he missed time. Really, he's been so durable his whole career, and they dropped him by $1 million. That's just a lot.
It's still it's hard to fit him in though. It's expensive.
It's not easy. I mean, it's always the thing, and with FPL, I think you're the same with tinkering. It's always like you get to a spot, and then you're like, but this one guy is kind of bad. Like this slot is bad, and you're looking around your team for money. It's Trent. Like that's the first spot you see is like he's 7. Even if I go to fucking Vard or Gabriel or Calafiore, whoever the fuck, it's like that $1 million makes such a huge difference in your forward or your mid. Yeah. But I'm gonna try and have him. I mean, he's also just I love him so much. Like I just love him. If he goes to Madrid, I'm gonna fucking watch out. It's gonna be bad.
You're looking for a new podcast co-host over here.
Yeah, exactly. So, but so I'm very into that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have to be honest. Like when I've been tinkering and putting all 3 of them in, the sacrifices across the board are drastic to me. Mm-hmm. Like it's tough.
Yeah, it's a big trickle down.
It's so fun. It's like the last 2 days in tinkering. Like I've been spending so much more time looking at defense because I feel like midfield and forwards just like. There are so many good picks. No, not at all. But there are just so many good picks across so many different price ranges where I'm just like, preseason's going to happen. Like, I'll figure it out. Like, there's 8-5 guys. There's 7 guys. There's 6 guys. There's 6-5 guys. Like, there are plenty of guys here. In defense, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Because I've built these defenses with like Trent and, 4-4-5s. And I just look at how it's going to go each week. I'm like, I just have Trent and just 2 or 1 points next to him basically every week. I mean, I have no confidence in this. And then I played with other kind of strategies with how I'm going to stack it because, where you don't want to go, which we've both been before, where we skimp on defense and they're getting between 1 and 2 points across. You can't make up for it. You cannot make up for getting, 4 points, 5 points, 7 points out of your 3 defenders week on week. So it just does put a lot of weight on Trent because if you have Trent, you don't have another good defender unless you have no Haaland, which is something, we'll come on to that as we keep talking tonight. But, which might be what you have to do. I'm not sure. But
the other thing with Trent too, just maybe last point on him, we could touch on Robbo and VVD, but I mean, you already said this in so many words, but I just wanted to reinforce it, is that like, I don't know, I have somewhere loosely in the back of my head just like in the notion of like predictability. Like, when do guys actually get their hauls and when do they not? Sort of like, if I was to look at 20 Arsenal games last season where they're favored by a goal and a half or more, how did like Saka and Odegaard compare in those games versus the hard games? Like, that's something that's interesting to me. Maybe I'll find time to look at it or not. But when you think about Trent compared to almost every other defender in the league, like, when is he going to get his hauls compared to, when is Gabriel or when is, Vard or whatever the hell? I feel like Trent is going to be really, correlate really strongly with the good fixtures. Like the games where he's just on the ball more, has more time, gets further forward, yada, 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 just like directly will correlate to assists, expected goals, touches in the box, points, bones, etc. So that's just like another, thing that I'm thinking about when I look at the fixtures and I look at Trent.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think it probably trickles around similarly because it's like more corners, so you have more like,
exactly.
more direct frees, more this, more that, and it's same for the center. Like, Gabriel is gonna have more opportunities against Ipswich than against City. But
that's the thing, though. It's like if you score 3 goals a year, does getting like 5 more corners versus matter?
If you have 3 or 7, is like, oh, you definitely want him for this. It's
like I don't think it matters. It's basically nothing. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Robbo 6, VVD 6. They're always good, but
they're fine. But they're just, I feel like, priced out from the other options. Like, I mean, having them over Arsenal is insane until we see Slot like doing something very intense.
Right. We would need to see Robbo looking like, old Robbo.
Yeah, playing wingback.
Really basically attacking, final third, just like could get double-digit assists or something like that before we,
And I think that is old Robbo, not ever going to be current Robbo again.
And maybe. He kind of was good when he came back from the injury last year, like under the radar, came back and like did a lot of good stuff. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's definitely getting older. He scored a couple goals.
Yeah, with him, it might be that he can do it in bursts, and then he just gets injured because his body's broken.
Or once a week for Champions League. Yeah. And then, it's like a rotation or something like that. But then City have a million guys. Guardiola 6, Akanji 5-5, Cancelo, Stones, Ruben, Walker, all 5-5. What the hell is happening? I don't know what the inside scoop is. Like, is he happy? Is Pep like him? Is
there a new
apologizing to Pep?
That's crazy. I don't know. It's crazy with him, but Gvard at 6.
I love it. Yeah, man. I mentioned it last pod. I just love it.
Do you think he's just going to be doing the similar kind of things of arriving late in the box and playing back post runs, like doing all that shit he was doing the last few games? Or
I mean, I assume so because there's no reason to not assume so, right? Like they've made literally no changes. They brought in like wing depth Savinho from a feeder club they already own. They might just be like balancing books. I have no idea what that transfer even means for the team, and literally nothing else. Same manager, same team. Vard was a big driving force in them like looking better and securing the league. So as of now, while there's no changes and no anything, I'm just like, I think it's silly to assume that they'd be doing anything differently until we see something different.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too with him is we were very critical of him early on in the season last year where he came in really young. We all know that players have a hard time betting in with Pep. And he was also playing a different position he's never played before. Yeah. And he was fucking awful for 2-3 months. And then all of a sudden he was fucking unplayable. Yeah. So he also might have just taken a step forward and pepped his life away and was like, this is who this guy is. And he is that now. Where, I mean, we briefly touched on it in the last episode, but he could be mispriced. He totally. He could be Trent-ish levels without the set piece kind of thing because open play. I mean, looking at the last 8 games or so of the last season, it was ridiculous. I mean, the
he's
amount
playing
of times
1-2s in the box and
I mean, he was like
worldies.
Munoz levels of strikerness almost. Like he was getting shots inside of the penalty area, not with his head all the time.
Yeah.
And, scoring bangers after like dribbling 2 players in midfield from
it's crazy.
Outside I mean, there's a reason why he was like fucking 100 mil or something. What was his fee?
Yeah, 100 mil.
80? 100 mil. Yeah. I
think it was 100, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not 30, he's like 22.
Yeah, I mean, when
so
they
he
bought
could just be improving.
All the smart people who, watch German football, it was 90 mil. All the smart people who watch football were like, they just bought the obvious best young center back in the world. And like everyone, it's so interesting now with like, PSR, not that I actually like read about it because I always skip every article or anything about it, but it's interesting in the sense that like it used to be this way where it was just like, well, City is the only team in the world that can afford him, and City is the only team in the world that can afford Kevin and Haaland also. So there's no competition. They just get him and whatever. But maybe that'll start changing. But for now, I mean, it's just like he turned out to be exactly who Pep wanted, and they had to adapt and figure out how to play with him at left back. He's so different from Cancelo. They figured it out. So for me, for my team right now, I just think he's a great price. It's a shame that the fixtures aren't as nice as you'd want, but if you kind of squint and you look at home Arsenal as like, maybe that is a pretty good chance of a clean, because both teams are going to play
especially
not to
at
lose.
Home. I mean, it's better for them than Arsenal because they can.
Yeah. Like I assume both teams play not to lose, and City will be favored, rightfully so, and City are more likely to score. And if you kind of like go with that, obviously game week 1, it's annoying to have away Chelsea, but then it's home Ipswich, away West Ham, Lopetegui West Ham, home Brentford, home Arsenal. It's like, it's pretty fucking good, man. It's pretty good.
And this is, I think, where you have to look at him and you're between two stools. Is he Trent levels of attacking, or is he Gabriel levels of attacking?
Right.
Like, how many cleans do you really expect or need from City and from Vard to buoy with the attacking? That's a question for everyone to kind of look at, I think, because
I haven't looked at this splits. I wonder if I feel like I was like losing interest in this season. I was in a dark place around the time when Gvardiol started popping off, but
it was like game 32
there's probably like a marker in the sand of just like, oh my God, his touches in the final third went skyrocketed from this game week on,
I don't know about the underlyings dramatically being different from when he was bad. I remember more like he looked terrible because he was fucking everything up, not because it was like, oh, he's getting all these new positions. Like I was like, oh, he's been doing this, but now he's just fucking donging, and before he was doing donkey ass shit. Like he's a terrible player.
Terrible player.
But okay, so we have guard at 6, the 5-5 guy. I mean, it's literally the rest of the defense. To me, my biggest thing here is just like the rotation is going to be rotating because it's Pepinho. And it's just 0.5 more for Gvard. It's just like, that's not 0.5 I'm trying to shed. I mean? I'm not trying to find my 0.5 by going Gvard to like Ruben or Ake or
Walker,
something, because
who's probably the most nailed.
Yeah, I mean, none of the other guys have any attacking threat really whatsoever, except for Ake, who seems to somehow find himself at the end of set pieces all the time, even though he's kind of diminutive. But I mean, what are you looking at the rest of the City guys?
Exact same. Okay. Not really any need to like go further there. Okay. I don't think. Yeah.
And then let's roll over to Newcastle with Trips at 6, who may or may not still be there at the time of game week 1, and then Shar at 5-5 is just offensive, honestly.
It's like just made up. I don't know.
So it's so aggravating because at 5 he's a pick.
Yeah, and he's really good. He's not I like watching him because he's really good. Yeah. But he just happened to score 4 random goals last year, so they're like, oh, 5-5 auto.
Yeah, I mean they're not even random. It's like he scored 4 goals because he's fucking a donger. But
he's good.
No matter how many goals he scores, he's a fucking center back at Newcastle, and he should not be 5-5.
He's a center back at Newcastle off of I know injuries, etc., but like they were a bottom 6 defense last year. They were fucking awful. It's not like they're like the Newcastle of 2 years ago, and he's because then he would be fucking 6'5", but I mean, maybe don't need to talk about him with the rest of the price. I
think we need to talk about Trips, though.
Yeah, Trips is interesting. Yeah.
I mean, he's still there by all intents and purposes, still there. And they are one of the other teams. It's a tough one to read their opening set because home Southampton obviously screams off the page game week 1. You know, I mean, that's attractive. Then they have 3 really reasonable away fixtures.
Yeah.
But also, like, so they have at Bournemouth game week 2, at Wolves, at Fulham game week 4 and 5. They read well, but from a clean sheet perspective, Bournemouth don't usually not score Vitality. Wolves don't usually blanket Molineux, and Fulham don't usually blanket Cottage. So, and then the other home fixture game week 3
homes are bad. Yeah. Home Spurs, home City.
And then game week 6 is home City.
Blank.
So it's tough to imagine more than like 2 cleans in the first 6. Yeah. Is that enough if they get 2 cleans for Trips? I mean, where do we see him? Like, is he back?
We were kind of just saying, like, if we were to just compare him to Trent, right? We were just saying 2 cleans is enough for Trent because we look at those fixtures, we look at Liverpool's attack, we know Trent what he can do, and we're like, yeah, it's enough. Bones, assists, points, 2 cleans, more than enough. Is Trips not very similar?
Yeah. Well, to me, it's more Trips is the question of Trips or an Arsenal defender because the pecking order to me is Trent, Vard, not sure.
Yeah.
Like, is it Trips or is it the Arsenal guy? You know, I mean, because if you're going heavy defense, I think I would pick Trips. I would roll for the upside of like maybe they keep an extra clean and you know he's looking at 6-point assists like we typically see with him. I mean, that might change with the new bonus point system, but is that nuts?
I don't think it's nuts.
Like, we have keep to consider pegging Arsenal defense down. Like, is that?
No, I mean, they're fucking great, but they got a huge price rise, and it's really hard to maintain that without much attacking return, right? Like, they don't have a Trent. Like, they don't have a 13 assist defender, so getting that huge hike is just really tough. They don't even have a Trips, right? Like, they have no one who will get as many assists or as many bones as Trips. No shot.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have to look at Newcastle's injuries last year when you're trying to, you know, grade out like what are they? What is this defense, right? Like,
and Europe to know Europe.
And Europe to know Europe, right? I mean, they got 1,200 minutes out of Joelinton, 400 minutes out of Tonali, 1,300 minutes out of Pope, 1,300 minutes out of Botman, 2,200 minutes out of Trips. Like, they were fucking decimated. Like, they were putting out some hysterically bad lineups.
Well, that's the true. And also, I mean, they still have no Botman. I mean, their lineup this year, their midfield looks better. Yeah. They have Pope back, but I mean, they're going to be running. Huge. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be running fucking Kelly, Byrne, Shaw, Trips. It's like, it's not much better. Like, I mean, I the midfield injuries, I think, were more significant. They were some, but you know, it's still a little bit, I think, up in the air.
Yeah. But Pope also huge.
Big deal. Yeah, push the line up.
I mean, Dubravka is genuinely fucking awful.
Yeah.
So Trips, you got to say it's at least a tick up from last year. And then, you know, decent fixtures. The fixtures are really hard to assess. I agree with you.
It's just, I mean, like if it was at Southampton, home Bournemouth, at Spurs, home Wolves, home Fulham, oh my God. I mean, it's like I would be ripping. I would be like getting to the front of the line to put Trace on my team, you know. But the ways are tough. The ways are tough.
And then also, like, is Trips the exact type of player like Porro, who we'll talk about next, who's gonna suffer a lot from the BPS changes? Maybe because like he did used to get bones in like a 3-2 loss, and now he doesn't. Yeah. Maybe, you know, like they let up as many goals as Chelsea last year, fucking Brentford, you know, like they were fucking bad.
Yeah, I mean, that could add up. I mean, because you look at him 2 years ago where he played every minute of the year, he had 1 goal, 9 assists, 39 bonus points, and he had 198. I mean, he almost hit 200 points that week, that year. But yeah, I mean, is he going to be just farming bonus points like he did that year? I mean, he did last year, to be fair. Yeah. Right? I mean, he basically almost-ish at the same rate. A little bit lower, but you know, and it takes a lot of luck too. Where you know the games that he gets the assists, the other things have to happen, and you know things have to fall appropriately to him. But I don't know. Yeah, Trips is interesting because I've seen him in no team, like in Discord, for example. Like I think people that have Trips are people that aren't like intense FPL players. They're just people who just pick their play.
A no Haaland team, right? It's like I'm going.
But even then, I'm seeing. But that's what I'm saying. Like, even those teams, I'm still seeing
Trent.
like I'm seeing trips like below all of the guys, and I think it's wrong game week 1 to put Arsenal over him.
I think it's wrong too. I have to agree there. Yeah, I mean Ferguson asked, he said an odd question put to the 4.5 million defender whisperers, which I guess is our new title because we're gods at picking a random 4 or 5 defender. He said, but can you give your thoughts on trying big at the back? BPS changes sounds like it's bad for defenders, but getting Kvard, Robbo trips for 18 million could be a thing. And Brian said, is big at the back dead with the new BPS rules? But
yeah.
Big at the back is dead probably because Haaland cost 15 million, which we'll get to later. But if you go without Haaland, it seems very alive to me.
Well, it depends what you mean by big at the back, because I mean, if you're playing a 3 defender formation, it's not big at the back, even if all of them are 6 million or higher. Big at the back before is when we had like 4 or 5, 6 million defenders, and you're playing 4X or 5X in the formation. So I mean, you can still have like a Haaland Mo big at the back in air quotes kind of team where you have a Trent, Kvard, and Trips or something. You can definitely do that if you want. So
I mean,
I don't think it's
draft that I made most recently, and they're just fucking farts in the wind. They're just drafts, but I have Kvard and Trent and Haaland.
Yeah,
it's
You're
doable.
making sacrifices. You don't have Isak.
My team's not
That's the
perfect.
answer,
What's a perfect team?
You don't have Isak.
I have 2 4-0 defenders. I don't have Isak. I don't have.
Could be fine.
An Arsenal player. Period.
Sure. All right, and then Porro. I think we can skip Porro, right? Do we have to talk about him at all?
Yeah, I mean, he's just the ultimate. He's the poster boy for the BPS changes. Like, they're going to concede a lot of chances. They're going to concede a lot of goals. His main best attribute was getting bones in the face of conceding goals and chances, and they probably stripped that away. So I think it's really bad for him.
Yeah. Midfield.
Mo, for all of the Trent reasons. I mean, I just can't find a way of not having Mo.
Yeah. I mean, there's no world.
The rest, it's just absurd.
Yeah. There's no world that I have possibly imagined that he's not in my Gimmick 1 team, which
same.
I can't believe because I was so
You were so anti. Yeah, you were so
at the end of last year, I was like, there's no way I'm having Mo, no matter what the price. But they figured out a way how to draw me back in with it's the fixtures. It's just the fixtures.
It's the fixtures.
If they had, Arsenal or City's fixtures, no way, I think there's no way.
That would be an interesting world, because then we would definitely have Haaland, right? That wouldn't even be a question.
Yeah.
Because, without Mo, it's fucking free to have Haaland. And then we would be filling up our team with like a bunch of like 8-5s, like 7-5 kind of guys.
Yeah.
But so we maybe we don't have to talk about Mo, but maybe in a future pod we should reanalyze the fact that we're both just like he's 100% of my team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think just to back up like the process and the reasoning, I mean, having the break is a big deal.
Huge.
And, we know they have the manager change, obviously, with Slot coming in, and we don't necessarily know, who's going to be playing where, but we know he's playing. As long as he's not playing in Saudi Arabia, which looks very unlikely at this stage of proceedings.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah. But it is really just the fixtures and expecting him to be rested and playing well. I mean, he's lost a step, not dribbling everyone, but he's so good. So even last year when he looked not as good, he still got the same amount of points basically as the year before. I mean, it's like a few less, but
I mean, I would bet my fucking life that if you just looked at his just straight up first half or second half of the season over his Liverpool career, it's insanely weighted to the first half of the season.
Yeah. And he's, still going to have pens, and he's like under his XG perennially, and we just need a hot run for him to be over his XG for, a month or two before he gets tired and he's fucking old.
That's it.
I mean, I want that.
Haaland or maybe fucking Palmer or Saka, who knows, might take the, crown from him. But as of now, as of today, as of 2024, he's still the best FPL player of all time. His record is fucking insane. He got the longest injury of his career last season. He still got 211 points.
Yeah.
So for now, it's like, just if it ain't broke, sort of.
For these reasons.
Yep. And shots on target bonus, good for him. Foul bonus, good for him. Like that. And he
gets fouled. They don't call it a lot, though.
Yeah, but the shots on target, he gets a lot of those, and he's
he misses the target a lot also. He misses a lot of chances also.
But he's a bad, bonus player for how many returns he gets. And so maybe that'll bump him up a little bit more.
Yeah, could do. And then we have a triple barrel 10, 10, 10, 5 with Swan, Saka, and Palm God.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up, dog?
I mean, Son had said, is Palmer worth it this year? Is he going to repeat his previous season, or do you think he hit his max potential due for a slump this season at his current price? I mean, I don't really think he's due for a slump. I just think that's who he is. I guess it's dumb from a weighting perspective to think that he's just that good. Maybe he regresses a little and is still incredible. He could regress to 220 points. And we're just sitting here being like, oh, he was worse than last season, but he was fucking top 4 player in the game.
Yeah, I mean, him regressing could be what Mo get, what we hope for Mo to get.
100%.
I don't know if that's good to not have Palmer from that standpoint.
The thing that has, in my tinkers, thing that has gotten me off of Nkuku and off of Palmer is that they have such bad fixtures. They have bad short-term fixtures and they have bad long-term fixtures. But when I say long-term, I mean 6. I'm not looking beyond 6. But, obviously the home city is bad. But game week 2 at Wolves is really their only good fixture. And it's not even a fucking banker. It's not even a banker. Yeah, it's okay.
It's going to be a fucking 6-4 gone masterclass of destruction.
And that's their best fixture.
Yeah.
At least from an attacking perspective.
I think at Bournemouth is better than at Wolves, honestly.
Maybe, but not last year.
Negligible. It's negligible.
Negligible difference. So they basically have no good fixture.
But Bournemouth aren't going to have Tyler Adams this year.
Oh my God. Minus 0 minutes. Plus minus 0 minutes. And it's fucking at Wolves, home Palace, at Bournemouth, at West Ham, home Brighton. They're all
bad.
They don't have a single banker. And listen, by nature of them not having a single banker, it means bankers are in their future. And we will be on Palmer then, and we will be on Nkuku then. But I just haven't been able to get there that comfortably. I'm happier with other picks for now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nkuku is more interesting just from the price standpoint, where it's a punt that you can take. But I mean, outlaying that much for Palmer when the fixtures are a little bit iffy. At the same time, we don't have much of an idea of what, this Maresca Chelsea team's going to look like. And, they might just not be, kind of non-functioning sometimes, which we saw a lot under Pochettino. So, I mean, they might just take a step forward to be like, we're just a top 4 team, and we're going to beat all of these bad teams home or away. And that could just happen immediately. And I wouldn't be surprised.
Let me pose a question to you. If Liverpool had Chelsea's fixture, is Mo in your game week 1 team?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure.
I absolutely think so.
I'm not sure about that. I think it would be much if you swap their fixtures, I'd probably be on Palmer over Mo.
Well, that's a different question.
Yeah, that's a different question. Different question.
That's a different question.
But if Mo had Chelsea's fixture, I'd be looking at he's reliable. He's going to start, but none of them are great. It's hard to imagine 2+ goals in really any of them, even though it'll probably happen.
But I kind of imagine 2 goals, and I mean the City game's different.
The City game is weirdly it's weirdly the most open.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it could be. I mean, last year was the 4-3 or whatever.
The 4-4. Yeah.
Look, more than 2 goals in any of those games. Squint. 2 goals. Yeah, score 2 goals in all of those games.
Yeah.
And when this team scores 2 goals, Palmer's probably going to have at least a return.
A return and a half on average, yeah.
Yeah, so I think, I don't think the fixtures are, I don't love them, but I think that from a Palmer standpoint of getting points, it's fine, I would be happy to have him on my team if I could fucking afford it or whatever.
Yeah, I'm more scared of the fixtures than you are, but I also think Palmer's incredible, and I don't think he's priced too high, and I think he's going to get tons of points this season. It's just, it's, I don't know. It's interesting. You brought this up, I think, on the postmortem about should we just be avoiding every team that has a new manager? And then new manager. And then we kind of looked at it and we're like, actually, the teams with new managers kind of started the season really well. And thinking about it more over the summer, I think I kind of came to the conclusion in my head that like there are naturally going to be diminishing returns as teams get tape on you and learn what you're doing and learn your tactics. Therefore, the inverse is true, right? Like teams should be kind of better and catch teams off guard at the beginning of the season when they have new managers. So maybe I should be looking at that as like Chelsea might just come out of the gates fucking flying and then, have a lull or something, later in the season. Same with Liverpool.
Yeah.
And, maybe these are good enough. Yeah.
I mean, it's either that or they don't function. So it's like you have to roll your dice and like pick your.
And you're not going to know after game week 1 because they play fucking City.
Yeah, no, I mean you're not going to know until game week 7 where you look back.
You're not going to know until the run is over.
And I mean to me this is kind of a little bit of like Angie, like last year with Andrew. It's like he kind of blitzed some teams and they had a few. I mean the performances were very scattershot, but. And then teams got tape and it's just like, they just don't create a chance. You watch them play for 90 minutes and they have maybe one chance created the whole game. Yep. And now, tape's well out. Like, how is he going to adjust? I'm very skeptical on that. But, that's definitely a thing where, the surprise, the element of surprise could be something there. So
the early part of the season, Spurs were putting up monster XG and just scoring so many goals. They went until January before they got blanked in a game.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then Saka, 10. Done. What do we see here?
Great player. Also don't really like the fixtures.
Yeah.
Really like Odegaard for 1.5 million cheaper.
Yeah.
Hard sell for me. I think there will be a time when I double up on them probably. And
what about game week 6 when they have home Leicester, home Southampton?
Hello. Now we're talking. But like, even if you look at like the short term and the long term, right? That's like my theme of the pod. I mean, the short term, it's like they have some of the better fixtures in the league because they're home Wolves, home Brighton with a tough away in between. But if you extend it out, and then we've talked about it with the defenders, it's away Spurs, away City, before home Leicester, jizz fest. But it's just, am I going to start there? I don't know. It's really safe. I feel more safe starting with Saka than I do with Palmer. What do you think about that?
I think Palmer is just a different level of FPL pick than Saka, honestly. I think he's just so much better. Like, he's not strictly a winger who needs his 7 pens a year to make up the numbers. And he's getting, Saka gets assists on corner kicks. Like, okay, good. They're really good at set pieces. That's fine. But when we look at Palmer, I still, look, dude, last year he had 35 returns and he didn't even start like 8 games, And he's a baby child.
35 games.
Yeah, it's his first season, and the team's being made around him, and he comes in, he's a striker, he's just completely free roll, and Saka's so far from a free roll. He's very positionally restricted to width, and he comes inside on counterattack sometimes, but generally speaking, he's playing wing. And you're not going to be hitting 35 returns on wing. I get Palmer got 12 pens last year or whatever the fuck, but I think that there is open play, more there. So, no, I don't think that the fixture run would have to be very much more extreme than it currently is for me to pick Saka over Palmer. I would feel more. I think the safety blanket aspect is just because Saka's been doing it for so much longer. But
it's twofold. It's threefold actually. The safety blanket, Saka's been doing it for longer, so we feel very confident, no regression. Well. Yeah, number 2, we know they're the best or second best team in the league. It'd be really shocking if they weren't one of those two. Yeah. And the third thing is like short term, home Wolves and home Brighton compared to home City, home Palace. It's not close, right? So like even if eventually we go to Palmer and, Chelsea look good, it's just like, I'd still rather have Saka for 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I still think Arsenal are just way better until proven otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. That's from the first 3 game week standpoint of things, throws a cat amongst the pigeons, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm generally a Saka detester, but
I know.
The other thing too is like, with these questions is like, if you're going with the no Haaland draft, you have all these guys.
Yeah.
Like you have Mo, Palmer, Saka. I mean, that's the place you start. You know, I mean, you have all three of them, and you're going heavy elsewhere, and you're hoping that you're going to make up numbers
and those mids, and then you build the rest of your team.
Yeah,
or something
like that. But
I think the hard thing with Saka is that, I mean, it's what you said. Is like Palmer's a better FPL player. Saka's so good IRL, but sometimes it's more frustrating when they're that good IRL and don't get points.
Yeah.
It's like, Saka played fucking great again, and it's his third blank in a row. And it's just like, fucking hell.
Well, third blank in a row doesn't happen too often with him, but...
Second blank in a row.
Well, to me, the bigger deal
but
with
also
Saka
Odegaard.
Well, yeah, well, we'll do that one next episode, I think. But
I think we're doing it this episode, no?
Are we doing
8-5 and up,
mids?
I thought.
Oh my god.
8-5 and up. Yeah.
I mean, the other aspect with Saka too is like the assists when I watch them, like he had 12 and 12 is just how many fucking corner kick assists is this guy going to get? Like,
and if we're
gets
talking
like
about diminishing returns when teams get tape on you, I mean,
it might be unstoppable.
Like, are they going to score 12 set piece goals or however fucking many they scored again? Like, is that even humanly possible? I don't know if it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he has his fair share of open play, cutbacks and things like that, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Saka's 226, 202 last 2 years. Good first three. Then it gets a little tougher 4-5. Look, you're not going to do badly having him in your team.
He's a fucking great pick.
He's a good pick, good price, good pick.
Yep, really good price. Really happy he's 0.5 cheaper than Palmer. Really happy he's more expensive than most other mids in the game. Yeah. Like, it's just a good job.
Swan.
But no, I want to go to Odegaard first because that's another thing that, I mean, you could argue that Nkuku's the same for Palmer, but still Nkuku, like, we haven't seen him. He hasn't been fit. It's not the same as Odegaard, 200 different points every year. That's a big...
At once.
Well... ish. At this point in my life, 180 points is 200 points. But it's just like that hurts Saka from an FPL pick. The fact that I can get him feel pretty much just as good for their outlay for at least for the 1 through 3 and save 1.5 million is crazy.
Yeah, I mean the price difference is significant. I mean, like last year they were the same price. It's really difficult, though, because when you start putting Odegaard in your team, then you look around at the other 8.5s and the guys that are a little cheaper, and then all of a sudden you're going down to, Eze or whoever. Right?
Gordon.
I mean, you are looking at Odegaard and thinking, how is he going to keep playing? I mean, is he going to still kind of trade off 8-6 with Rice? Is he going to hit way over his XG? What is his XG going to look like? How much is he going to be joining in on the attacks as the extra runner? How many of the games is he going to be playing in the middle third? Like, he's so good in real life and he's so tactically flexible. You just don't know what his positioning is going to be any game, and the pens are a huge deal. Like, I don't think they're worth 1.5, but, I think Odegaard and Saka without pens are very, 50-50 assets, but with the pens, like, Saka gets free goals.
He got
that Odegaard
penalty goals last year.
Yeah, I mean, Odegaard didn't get 6 free goals. I mean, if Saka got 6 less goals and Odegaard got 6 more goals, Odegaard would be 10 and fucking Saka would be 8.5.
100%.
That's literally what would be happening right now. So, and that's going to continue. So, is Odegaard... I mean, I don't know. And the comparison is kind of not necessarily that instructive because why are we comparing the two again? Like, are we coverage picking? Like, it's just both.
It's just like, I guess it is. It's like a coverage starting point. But for me, it's not about covering Saka when I pick Odegaard. It's more just about like,
it's covering Arsenal.
Really want an Arsenal player because they're the best or second best team in the league, and they have a good 1 and they have a good 3, right? So it's like, and I love Odegaard, and I think he's like going to score very close to the amount of points as Saka, And so while they're both fit and they're both nailed, and yada yada, it's like I'm very happy there. Whereas like if Chelsea had a good 3 fixture run. Even though Nkuku to Palmer is a much bigger price difference, I wouldn't be sitting here being like, I'm happy with Nkuku. I'd be like, I fucking need Palmer.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. And I mean, maybe the answer is more of like, you want both or this, but I mean, with Odegaard, I think you're looking more as like the last couple seasons, 186, 212. It's hard to imagine him not being in that range, right?
Yeah.
And because he is such a good finisher, he has games, he could take a couple pens a year, maybe if the fouls fall at the right time of the game type thing. And he also could spike, at 250, where he just
100%.
gets a few extra assists and he scores a few extra goals kind of deal because he is that good.
That's
and he's also,
that's all it is.
He's getting better and improving. So, Odegaard is at 8.5, just a great pick. But to me with him, I'm more interested to hear what you think about him compared to Bruno, just in a vacuum, both 8.5. I mean, is this, because this is like Bruno has avenues and age and
pens,
and pens, and Odegaard has like none of those things. There's a couple of very few avenues.
Mostly just open play,
yeah. Unless if he starts taking right-sided corner kicks over Rice, which I think he should have been for a while because you want Rice in the mixer. But what do you see there?
Yeah, jumping to Bruno is another interesting sort of similar like arc as Trent, right? Like comes in the league, he's 8 million, blows the fucking doors off. Then he's 10.5, scores 244 points, goes up to 12, then he's 10, and now he's 8.5 as his points kind of decline, points per game so decline. The team is also just bad, and his, it seems like his open play presence has diminished to me a bit. Like I feel like Ten Hag was doing a lot of weird stuff with him last year, where sort of before the season started, we were like, oh my God, like him behind their attackers and like Mount should just help him, not hurt him. And, Mount doesn't play and the team's a mess the entire year. And he's doing so much dog work, just pressing and tracking back and covering for their bad midfielders. And, open play, he gets 6 goals, 8 assists. If you don't count like fantasy assists, like that is fucking bad. It's really bad. He's getting older. The system, I don't know if it's going to change. I'd imagine they're going to be a little better, especially if they get Ugarte. They already got Xerxes, Garnacho's another year under his belt, Haaland another year on his belt. Maybe Rashford will have his every other season I'm good moment, but I just feel so overwhelmingly confident with Arsenal's prospects.
Yeah,
and I
more
feel
question marks.
So questionable with what Manchester United are keeping Ten Hag and awful fixtures.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because we do these podcasts and we touched on it last, but it's like the whole season outlook versus the first few game week outlook from game week 1. To me, with Bruno, I'm actually somehow I initially was in that camp, and I've kind of like oscillated wildly to the opposite extreme where. I feel like fitness wise, he looks the same player as he entered the league. I know 100%. He's getting up there in league.
It's just what he is doing or not doing.
And they were so fucked up last year, and they had a lot of mitigating circumstances there, and a lot of reasons as to why that was. But last year, the year before, I mean, this felt to me more like his floor, where there were how many times do we watch Bruno's like how did he like almost assist. Yeah. And, getting Xerxes,
it's
maybe
3 straight years, though, of that, by the way.
No, yes, that's fair. It's fair. I mean, and it might be just he creates so many, like, just under half good chances. Yeah, so many half chances, and, the players aren't there to do the thing. But, I think the penalties are also very, unusual, where typically Man United have good attackers in the box who are tricky. And they win, more than, Haaland.
How many pens did they get last year?
I mean,
he took 5 last year.
5, he missed 1.
And Rashford took 2 for some reason. I don't remember that at all.
Fucking prick, I don't know. But, I mean, I think at 8.5, I feel like I expect Bruno to get more points than Odegaard.
What do you think of their fixtures? It's one of those things where like you can slice it how you want it.
Yeah.
But if I'm sticking,
you can create your own narrative. If I want Bruno, they're great. If I don't, then they're terrible.
Exactly. If I'm staying consistent and saying short term is 3, long term is 6, I don't like their fixtures. But if I squint and say short term's actually 4, and he has an away Southampton in there, it's a big boost. But home Fulham is tough. At Brighton might be tough. Home Liverpool's tough. You know, it's not great. They're certainly not. They're very far from great.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like 8-5. I mean, it's almost like a little bit like last year where he was in, 40% of teams. And, we all expected them to do this. And then they didn't do the thing. And, look, 166, it's like his worst season ever almost. I mean, 21 was bad also. But I don't know. I just still fucking feel like he's good. And they're going to get more pens and he's going to get more points and they're going to be better and the defense is going to get better this year and they're going to have a better spine and they're going to be able to build better and he's not going to have to play 6 as much. Like, I just feel like
that's a big thing.
I just feel like they're just going to be better and he's going to be able to do free 8 shit. And
if they get Ugarte, I think that like boosts Bruno's prospects by a lot.
Yeah. And he's just like the other thing with him too is I'm less interested in these 3 fixtures, these 6 fixtures, like 8-5 on pens, set pieces, go whatever. Like this isn't a spot I'm looking at.
I care about the fixtures. I still do. Yeah. I mean, you look at the games where he was getting like his double returns last year. I mean, it's the good ones. It's NFO, it's Burnley, it's Sheffield, it's Fulham.
But at the same time, I mean, they have Liverpool game week 3 home, but then they don't have another. They don't play Arsenal till 14 and City till 16.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, they have one bad fixture, really. They're in terms of the top 4.
For, like, a decade, they're maybe hardest team in the league to evaluate because they were genuinely terrible last season. They finished way higher than their underlyings. I mean, they were bottom 4 defense and a bottom half of the table team by every underlying metric imaginable.
Yeah.
So
and
like,
look,
if they're that, then I look at like home Fulham, they're worse. Away Brighton, they're worse. Home Liverpool, they're way worse. At Palace in Gaming 5, they're worse.
I just don't believe that's going to continue.
Home Spurs in 6, they're worse.
As much as I think Baldus Ten Hag is the biggest fraud in the world, I just don't believe that's going to continue.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that's fact. I'm just saying that
that's what
last year happening. That's what it was. But to be fair to them, usually I think like 99% of their transfers are bad. And if they lock down Ugarte and they already got Euro and they 100% got Xerxes,
of them are good.
I love their transfers for the first time in a long time.
They got the bike. Bike racers are in charge. They're figuring it all out.
They're good. Yeah. So that could be a huge turnaround for them. So
I'm very look. I did not ever expect to say like. If you told me preseason, like, Odegaard and Bruno are going to do the same, it's like, oh, good, Odegaard's auto. And now I'm kind of like, I don't know. I mean, yeah. But
I mean, again, like, I have no idea if there's any juice in this at all. I haven't flushed it out. I haven't done the research. But what I was saying before about like the predictability, if you were going to run like a correlation between good fixtures and returns, Bruno fucking correlates. We know that for a fact. We know that. Because he doesn't return in the tough games and he fucking gets hauls against the bad team.
And I think last year he even like broke that trend a little bit. I think he got
he scored for Liverpool.
And he got either the faraway goal for Liverpool. He got an assist, I think, in one of the tough games. But okay, so we have a couple of other mids to cover. We haven't touched on Swan at 10.
Yeah, Son at 10 and the 2 City guys. That's it, right?
Yeah, so let's do Son right now. What do you see here?
I get it.
What do you mean? You get what?
I get the price. Like when I first saw day 1, I was like, "Oh, get the fuck out of here." But I get it. There was a period last season where he was the best pick in the game. So that's not nothing. And who knows? There's Richarlison Saudi rumors. If that happens, Son is striker, fucking god tier. Right here, right now, left wing. It's hard. It's a really hard stretch. Hard for me to stretch there. I do like their fixtures. I think that they have like good enough fixtures that are exploitable. They have Leicester, home Everton, and Everton's tough, but they're way better at home. And away Newcastle is was good last year. Is it going to be bad this year? Don't know. But for goal scoring, I think they're pretty good. But yeah, I just compared to the other 10s and not knowing what the team's going to really look like. I mean, not knowing, I don't know who their midfield is. I don't know what the forward line is. I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah, not a pick. Not a pick. And then we'll go to the city. We have, maybe at Game Week 20 when the world is different, but right now he's just not a pick.
They could score 4 in Game Week 1 at Leicester, and he braces, and everyone's just like, "Oh my god, why don't I have Son?" Like that'd be so unsurprising to me. It's just like I think we and everyone in FPL get like fatigue, right? Like part of that hurts Saka too, right? It's like every year, Pen fucking bullshit assist 200 points. It's like enough. I want someone else.
So already. I mean, so you're looking with Son is just like Leicester, Everton first 2 is just like go there and forget about Saka, forget about Palmgod. Like he plays City, Saka.
He's fucking great.
Just put him in for these 2 and then reassess.
Son's had one
like that's your case.
Bad year ever, and he had a fucking hernia the entire season. Every other year, he's just like a 22-23 season. 150 points.
Yeah.
Every other year, he's just a fucking dong fest. Absolute dong fest. Points per start monster.
I have Son fatigue. I hate him.
Yes. No, I think it's really reasonable to have that. But just like objectively looking at their opening 3 based on like not knowing what Newcastle are.
Newcastle's.
I don't even know, because last year was a good attacking fixture last year.
Because they had no they had the injuries, but fine. First 2 are great.
But first 2 are great. Son's fit, Rich is fit, the whole midfield's fit, the fullbacks are fit. The team was really good attacking when it was fit. So, I could see it. I could see it.
Oh my God. Okay.
City guys?
Kevin and Foden. So price hike, price decline. Anything here?
Terrible fixtures. I just don't really see anything here, to be honest. I really don't.
Okay. Yeah. Neither do I.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck it.
Okay. So
Haaland. Forward. There's one premium forward.
So let's talk about your master strat here. Like roll it out.
Well, we were I wish I was still rolling, but we were talking at the end of last episode about how like it's so fucking annoying that we feel like we have to have Haaland, but we're only going to captain him, definitely in Game Week 2. If you own, you probably captain him in Game Week 4 also, but Game Week 2 is the big one. Home Ipswich, hat trick potential, yada, yada, yada. Same shit as always with Haaland, but the rest of the fixtures are kind of bad. And then I was like, what if you just free hit in Game Week 2? And you don't go Haaland, you free hit him in Game Week 2 and captain him, free hit in Triple City, obviously, home Ipswich. And part of the basis for that, one of the pros is that there's less doubles and blanks and weird annoying shit this year. So they say. I haven't even looked up what the FA Cup rules are. I don't care. But that's what the people say. And so if that's the case, free hit maybe is less valuable. There's not a game week where there's like 4 matches and getting it out of the way. And also, obviously, it lets you build a Haaland-less team. He's the most expensive player in FPL history. And you can get all these other guys you love. And, there's so much risk. Like, you're going against Haaland, right? It's like, there's no analogy I have for like what that risk is worth. It's sort of like an antidepressant. It's like, it feels good to build a Haaland-less team. Takes the edge off. I get to have all my guys. My mood is uplifted. I'm walking on the clouds. I'm on cloud 9. But one of the side effects of the antidepressant is suicidal tendencies. So
sounds like you're describing cocaine.
I'm describing many things, but I'm also describing not owning Haaland. Yeah. And there's just that risk that you just get absolutely fucked. And like, yeah, sure, you're going to have him against Ipswich, so you're covered there, but he could hat trick at West Ham. He could hat trick home Brentford. He could hat trick at Chelsea. Game Week 1. We have no idea. 2 pens and a goal. Year. Yeah. So, and then you're just fucking, what the fuck are you doing? You might have to wildcard to remedy that, and you're already 60 points behind the field. And so there's that. And also, I think, free hitting early like that it's potentially really fun and good, but you're also like,
you can get less points in your original team.
You might do that. And your one free transfer down
doesn't roll. Yeah, you're down
from everyone else.
Yeah.
Like everyone else
Yeah.
is making a move, jumping on a guy, getting rid of a guy, whatever it is, and you're not. You have one free in game week 3, and your same team as game week 1. That might be bad.
Yeah.
But
so where are you? I mean, since telling me about this at the end of last recording,
yeah,
have you played around with the note? Like where do you see yourself now?
I mean,
like, just gut check.
I do still like it, I have to say.
Okay.
Because I
so
think
what have your no Haaland tinkers looked like?
Well, one of the other things that I was going to say for like a pro is
you're a pro.
I'm a pro. The other good teams that it works with are Arsenal and Chelsea. So Arsenal, you skip the at Villa fixture and you just get rid of them, but you have them for home Wolves and you have them for home Brighton. Chelsea, you have no Chelsea in your team because their fixtures are dog shit except game week 2. So you go Palmer and Cuckoo, maybe a defender in that team. But so you could still have, like, I still have Gvard in some of my tinkers, even with a free hit, because I still think like he's good enough 6, 7, 8 game weeks. I could have him and be good. But going without a Haaland, it just opens up a lot of like, Trent, Fard, and a good rotation of my third spot in defense. I'm having Mo. I'm having maybe Saka. I'm Eze. I'm not skimping on anyone. I'm Ollie for sure. Because again, with Ollie, it also lines up a third team there. You're missing the Arsenal fixture.
The Arsenal game.
And without that, their fixtures are absolutely absurd.
Amazing. Yeah.
Well, if you skip Arsenal, Villa are at West Ham, at Leicester, home Everton, home Wolves, at Ipswich, home Man United. Ridiculous.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
So you have Ollie, you have Isak, and your team is just fucking stacked. Obviously, your team is stacked. Haaland costs 2 Isaks, basically. I mean, so like obviously your team's going to be stacked, but I don't know if I'm actually going to do it. I think that I should, because I think that doing dumb shit like this is what I used to do, mad scientisting my way, and I think that I find actual joy in playing the game in that kind of way.
Yeah. I'm with you, dog. Yeah.
So as of right now, my gut check is like, yeah, I should do it. I think there's like enough reasons to do it. And really all the cons are basically just like if Haaland scores a hat trick in one of the other random games.
Yeah. And they're not very highly, like he doesn't typically score hat tricks in games that aren't home against a relegation team.
Right. And their homes, aside from Ipswich, are Brentford,
the
Arsenal,
game.
Fulham.
Yeah, the Brentford game is the scariest one, but I mean they're have
all
to
scary,
stick.
Dude. They're all scary.
I don't think so. I mean, I think
and
the
at
Brentford
West Ham, they're gonna have 85% possession against a 8-2-0
I mean, it
formation.
Could just be like, oh yeah, we have fucking Zuma and Max Kilman, and we don't know how to play a 7-3 formation like Lopetegui's
it will be
been.
That.
Yeah, Lopetegui's been telling us to do this, but he's only been here for a month or two, not for 7 months. So we don't know how to do it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they might just get a handball or a pen or whatever. But yes, I mean, obviously he can score goals in any game. It's Haaland, and he's off a rest, and there are a lot of reasons to have him in.
Yeah.
If there is an overthonk, this is the overthonk. However many thonk question, like fucking things on your chin. It's like our emoji we have in Discord. It's like the furthest away thonks. This is overthinking it, and it might be genius. And also, you don't know.
Re-emphasizing what I said before. I've been trying to make this season and preseason about me. I'm not listening to fucking anything. I'm just talking to you. Like, that's all my FPL shit is.
That's
just
all
talking
I've
to
ever been doing for the last 5 years.
That's great. I haven't been. But overthinking has like this negative context, right? It's like some stupid bad thing that no one should ever do. Overthinking is fun for me. I like overthinking. Like I get excited about the idea of like over tinkering and like doing crazy shit.
I mean, to be clear, overthinking is not actually a thing that exists. It's just you're going against conventional wisdom. You're thinking and challenging conventional wisdom.
Exactly.
That's all you're doing here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no line that's like, oh, you've now overthought.
You've thought too much. You're going to die.
The clock
You're
strikes
dead.
midnight and you should stop thonking.
You turn into a pumpkin. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, there's a lot of pros. It lets me build a team that I fucking love. And I still feel like I'm not going to get completely fucked by the maybe best fixture of the entire season in game week 2 for City.
Yeah.
And, I'll free hit in fucking Kevin Foden Haaland and, take it from there.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing with me, so like a few things as I've been tinkering and thinking about this idea since you told me about it last week. I don't love the other game week 2 free hit team options. Like there aren't any other real home bankers where I'm like, okay, obviously I put Haaland in, I put 3 City. The other 9, I'm like, I don't know. It's just tough.
I mean, I think you're going in you have to believe in Chelsea and Palmer specifically because you have to believe in that away Wolves fixture. It's not a banker. It's absolutely not.
I would
nowhere near the same as home Ipswich.
Yeah, I would put Palmer in, and I would have no other Chelsea players, most likely.
Right.
But yeah, so like that's one thing that
hurts,
I was. That just that's else you put in your team that's questionable. So the other point, the teams that I have with Haaland are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Having a team with Haaland and Mo is so easy to make. Because there are so many good mid-price players in the game. So I'm like, how much am I really sacrificing from getting, oh my God, I can get, instead of Eze, I can get Saka. I'm like, I don't even know if that's going to get more points,
Yeah.
To the point where like,
the bottom line.
That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to weigh up sort of like, it's like DCL-ish forward compared to Ollie. Ollie, especially without the Arsenal fixture, which I think is still ridiculous. And then, it is Saka versus a mid-price mid, and that might be nothing. Arsenal might not get a pen and, they, whatever, they slow start or something like that. Remember they couldn't score a fucking goal at the beginning of last season. It was all defense. It was all 1-0 wins and shit. Yeah, it might not be worth it for sure.
Yeah.
And I might also go, Haaland, Kevin, Foden or something like that in game week 2 and City win 2-0.
2-0.
And it just, Haaland got one return and
Rodri scores an unassisted goal.
Rodri, Doku to Rodri. And it's like, and so I'm leaning in so hard to that fixture and I don't get anything from it.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm down to free hit, which, will probably require more annoying planning later.
Yeah. I think though, look, we're hyper focusing on the first few game weeks and, that's to be expected because that's what we have to do when the game starts game week 1.
Yeah.
I think that like you and I too is, when you're like, here's a 50 million player, he's the best player in the game, put him in your team and build around him. We're like, no, we're gonna look at the rest of the players and make up. Yeah, we're say Tub again. Say it again.
Tub.
Wrong. So it's like we're gonna back ourselves to outpick you with Haaland and your mid-price, like to try and put the jigsaw pieces in a different way. And will we have Haaland for 0 game weeks? Probably not. Maybe we'll both have him game week 1. I don't know, but the exercise of going through it and doing it is really important because it's one, you might just do better, and then also 2, it lets you know kind of what player you are, right? Like, what are you, what kind of FPL player? Are you chalk? Are you doing the thing?
Yeah.
Or are you looking for, unconventional, weird ass shit to try and out-thonk the field?
Listen, game week 7, starting right after this run, home Fulham, at Wolves, home Southampton, at Bournemouth. Like, okay, yeah, I'll probably get them, right? Like, those are, if I'm following what we talked about last year, then I'm going to get him for the home bankers as much as I can. I'm going to captain him in the home bankers. Yeah. And I'm going to try and outscore teams that hold him through the non-good runs.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's a more than considerable amount of points you can gain to the field by not owning him.
Yeah.
If you're doing the thing the right way.
Yeah.
Right? He does hold your squad hostage in a lot of aspects as a 15 million player. There hasn't been a 15 million player before. RVP 14, him 14 last year. There have been 14 million players before. there are fewer elite players in the league than I feel like we've ever seen. And like look in defense, right? That we talked about, like there are like 5 really good defenders, and everyone else is kind of like, I don't know, they fucking suck. Like they all suck, kind of, you know. And in midfield, it's like, we talked about 5 or 6 picks this year. You know, I mean, typically this pod we talk about more than 12 players. Yeah, and you know, if you can make one of them more than 4 of teams. Them, I mean, if you can make one of them 4 of them, or it could pay dividends. So
I mean, another thing that I'll definitely have to do the work on and haven't done yet, and you know, we're already an hour and a half, so I'm not going to do it live on air, but I need to look at like, okay, game week 1 through 6, I'm excluding game week 2 if I'm free hitting. Who am I capping? Because if the answer is just Mo, then it's probably not worth it. Because I just have the other captaincy. But you know, I mean,
it is kind of like that.
Maybe
Mo's
it is.
Got Ipswich, home Brentham 2,
home NFO,
which is
Bournemouth.
4 or 5 easy. 3's look at Man United is the Mo hat trick game, but you know, you could tell me.
I don't know.
And then that's.
But then, like, who else am I capping that week? Like, look at the other captaincy that option.
I didn't check. Is there no one good on 3? Arsenal. Yeah, that's probably not that. I mean, and that is the thing where it's just like, what are you really risking by having Haaland and Mo? It's like not much, because
not much. Yeah.
I
mean, maybe game week 3 I'm capping Ollie at Leicester. You know, maybe
could if they're a mess. If Leicester are a mess, the first
if they're a mess.
Sure. King Power's tough though, usually.
But it's not like good enough that I'm sitting here being like, that's for sure my favorite captain that week. Like it very well might be Mo, and it might be Haaland. You know, at West Ham. So it's something to think more about, but it's definitely something I'm interested in. Do you want to do any more questions or lifestyle questions or anything, or just push them back for future pods? Because these pods are always at least an hour and a half.
We got lifestyle questions?
We got a couple lifestyle questions.
Yeah, let's do those. We could do a few.
And Andy A said, what were Walsh's forum tastes in the good old days? So I guess I mentioned last pod that you were a forum guy and I was on like, you know, IRC or something like that. What forums were you on? Or is it just FFS?
How back in the day are we going here? That's my first question.
Magic.
Oh, there was actually, now that you mention it, there was a Magic trading card forum that I was very actively participating in. I was trading my cards, like literally snail mailing them to Europe.
Oh my God.
And it was like, you would post like your collection or your trading, and like you would just be, sometimes you would just send cards and just never get them back, and you just got scammed. Way. Oh yeah, it happened all the time. And you'd like tell the mods, and they would like ban people and shit.
Oh my God.
I was very active on that. I forgot. I think it was like Magic Online Trader. It's like MOTD or MOT, something like that. So that was my really big intro forum game. Yeah. And then, it was FFS. I mean, I was on FFS for probably like 4 years.
And you're very active on there.
Very active on that. And I mean, the people generally were idiots, but there were a small, you know, sampling of good guys. And then, we had the other, like the offshoot of the Cheezoid had his little thing. And
what the fuck is Cheezoid?
He's just like a guy. I don't know. He's probably some British guy. I don't know. I don't remember what the thing was called, actually. Oh, Nirvana.
The thing that I was on?
Nirvana. Yeah, you were on
Nirvana.
I think you made 10 posts and you never.
I actually got like good FMLFPL feedback on that thing, because there were like the good people would sometimes be like, oh, I've never listened to you guys before. Like it was really fun. And then I just like stopped and I got banned for inactivity.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So I was on that, and then that was it for me. What about you? Do you have forum game?
No.
What's your forum game?
No forum history. No, IRC or bust. Yeah, that's it for me.
And that was chat room more than forum.
Yeah, it's not a forum. Not a forum at all. Yeah. And then Jeff D said, what Olympic events to watch to pass the time before the Prem is back? The Olympics
Summer
are
Olympics.
soon.
Yeah, I mean, they're starting like this week or something.
Yeah, I think Friday.
Yeah.
I don't actually know. I'm scrolling through the Summer Olympic sports right now. I mean, I'm not going to watch a lot of these. Not going to lie. Archery is kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, it depends how they cut it. It's really interesting because the Olympics used to be you don't know what's happening until the prime time hits, and then they show you 3 hours of like the most popular, exciting things, and now it's just all on demand on Pisser or whatever, right? So you can watch whatever you want, and it's almost it
means I'll watch less. Like
it means you'll
the
watch
result
less.
of that means I will watch a lot less.
And it also kind of like diffuses the. No one watched Simone Biles like fucking break her ankle. Like no one even knows who that is because no one's watching primetime gymnastics.
Right.
So I don't know.
You also you see it on Discord or Twitter or something like, oh my god, like this guy won. I'm like, oh okay,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think Summer Olympics to me, like I like the field events.
Yeah. Track is sick.
Yeah, track. So the other thing with track that pisses me off is like. They used to have so much downtime of just talking about nothing when the race takes like 2 minutes. It's like just fucking show the race, like bam, like one interview, like show the next race, like. So I don't know in the modern like streaming era. Yeah, I don't really know
like what's going to be on TV. We're just gonna
definitely
have to play
not
it by
watching
ear.
Soccer or baseball. Or I don't know. Basketball.
Definitely no shot. They're like more than half of these, as I'm looking at the events, are just like a 0%er.
Yeah.
Some of them I also just have no idea what it is. Like there's something called breaking. Like okay,
breaking.
Breaking.
They just break people.
Yeah.
In an interrogation room.
Don't know what that is. Yeah, you just had to break someone.
You like gymnastics? Did you? Are you up for gymnastics?
I like gymnastics. Okay, but not all of it.
I could do gymnastics.
I don't like the dancing with the ribbon dancing stuff like
the
that.
Ribbon,
but
the floor,
when they're really popping off and doing so many flips and shit, I'm in. I could get into that. I like the horse thing too. It's pretty fun. What's it called?
Pommel horse.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I thought you were talking about like a question. I was like,
no. I'm still on gymnastics. That's good stuff.
There has to be like a country rivalry story between like individuals, though. It's not like you can't get me just like, oh, it's Summer Olympic gymnastics. I'm going to be in. Like, there has to be more than that. Like, oh, it's this fucking girl who this happened, who she was in, whatever.
Yeah, ultimately, scrolling through, there's no sports I actually care about.
Yeah, I mean, swimming is also, it's like, oh, here's this fucking savage who fucked some kid up in the gas station. Like, he's so good at, or it's like, but if it's like Michael Phelps.
I don't know that reference.
Like, there was like Lockheed or something.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? Like, him and his buddies, it's like, I don't care about you. But it's like Michael Phelps is winning every single thing who looks like an actual, like, extra human person. I was like, no.
Volleyball's cool.
I get so bored with volleyball.
I kind of like it. It's pretty fun.
The 2v2. Do you like indoor or the beach?
Beach 2v2 with the babes.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Babes with their thongs. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get so bored. It's just like, oh, it's the same thing. It's like bump, 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 bump. It's done.
Yeah.
Like bump, 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 it's done. I'm like, oh,
but there's like
I don't
sick
know.
rallies sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a stretch. It's a stretch. I'm curious what, in Discord, I want to hear what everyone else is really psyched for that we missed because I don't know anything that's happening really.
Yeah. Kev's going to talk about Irish hurling.
Oh my God. You're not watching breaking? Dude. Northern Ireland, insane breaking country.
Oh my God.
Sport climbing. That shit's kind of fun, but I don't know. Never mind. That's, I think, as far as we need to go there.
Okay.
Let's just push all the other questions back. I know we get questions, but like, we try and cover as much as we need to cover, I think, on these preseason pods, and I'll just push them all back to like episode 4.
I think we covered it.
We covered. So, Asses to Slap. New signups. We're starting to get some signups. So we got JR, Francis Mahone, Matthew Lithick, Brett Teague, Jason, 15 Peter, 20 or something else, baby. And I think that's a wrap, dude. Any last words?
Big one. Next one, mid-price. See you tomorrow.
Mid-price, next one. Let's fucking go, dude. Check us out at FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLFPL, sports.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, rate, review,